gals, welcome to Raising My Voice. My name is Mads Kowalczyk, and I am the host and creator of this platform. I made this platform to be my safe space, but also to cultivate a feeling of safeness for my listeners and openness, and to encourage authenticity and healing. I have been trying to develop a way to tell my story in an authentic way. For quite some time, I started using my social media a little bit more authentically at the beginning of last year, and that has been really cool and really rewarding, but I quite often feel like I have too much to say for Instagram captions and for Reels and TikTok, so I wanted something that I could, kind of tell all of my story in whatever form I wanted to. I feel like I've always kind of joked about starting a podcast with my friends just because we're stupid and I think we're funny. It's the trauma that makes us funny. I'm not going to say we're not funny because we're hilarious, but it's the trauma and the mental illness. They're a super fun combination, and that's why we're here, folks. So I have been trying to find a way that feels the most natural and the most accessible for me so that I can be consistent, because this is something that I want to be dedicated to, and dedication to projects on like a larger scope over a long period of time is not something that I am used to, not something that my brain follows super well without a lot of motivation. So just know that I am really motivated to do this. The actual process of starting this podcast has only been going on since the middle of January, but that's been all my brain has been focused on for this whole time. So I have been working on a way to share my story and connect with people for quite some time. And after starting to use my social media a little bit more authentically, I feel like this is a really natural progression to share. Sorry, I'm really awkward. I can't promise that I'll get less awkward throughout all of this because I am just a little anxious goober, but I hope that you enjoy the ride. I have always been really, really passionate about connecting with people, specifically in regards to shared experience with trauma or mental health. I am a really, really vulnerable human just by default. I find that my base setting is just feelings and empathy and like vulnerability and connection. Which is really cool, and I have learned to see it as a superpower, but it has been really overwhelming in my life, and it also has made me tolerate a lot more than I should have. So I am really, really passionate about connecting with people, and I'm also really passionate about impacting the change that needs to happen in society, but specifically like the resources that I have needed in some of my lowest moments that weren't easy to get or to find, and support that a lot of people need. So I have really big plans career-wise, and this feels kind of like a stepping stone to build a platform and hopefully a community, and hopefully find the people that I will work with to make all of these really fucking ambitious things happen. But I am really excited to start sharing my journey, and I'm really excited to see where this particular path takes me, because it's not something that really crossed my mind until the beginning of the year. I was really just dedicated to doing things for myself, and I was listening to a podcast, and I remember them specifically saying, start before you're ready, and I was like, do I just do it? And here I am, and I I did just do it. The road to get here has been quite interesting. I decided that it was something that I wanted to do and started researching and like planning the logistics towards the end of January. And then I was really, really dedicated for the whole month of February, I would say. And I was really ahead of schedule and just psyched about everything. And then I went to the city for the weekend, and I packed my weekend full of like socializing with people and doing project stuff I like. It was a busy weekend for me. So I didn't give myself enough time to relax. And that was also around the anniversary of a pretty big trauma that I didn't realize until actually after it had happened. But I was really, really overwhelmed with emotion and just hadn't taken care of myself. So I got kind of thrown off. But as Brianna pointed out on the phone last night, I'm at the point with my podcast that all I really have to do now is record. And that has been terrifying. I spent 3 to 4 hours recording a week and a half ago. And I did it without a script, and I didn't really break down my talking points, and I should know better than that, but I thought that I was going to be okay. So I feel like I wasted my time, and that's not the reality. It was a good experience. And now I know how I have to prepare to go into things. But it was really frustrating, and it was a really frustrating week and a half, and I had to just take a really solid break. And taking care of myself properly and the way that I deserve to be taken care of has helped tremendously. It has helped so much. But I also did need to shift out of the perspective. I was so caught up in things, and I was planning, and I was kind of running myself ragged because I was just really focused on this really cool project because I'm really fucking excited about it. And I was like, brain, don't lose it. That I didn't take care of myself the way that I should have been. So I didn't have the energy. But it did help me get the perspective that I was really, really great at doing all of the logistics things and all of the planning. And I was thinking that I was very confident in my plan. And then the second that it got to actually putting myself out there, even with content on social media for this platform, I've kind of just hit a wall. And the time and the support and the conversations with the people in my life helped me to realize that I have been scared and anxious about this particular aspect. But when I do think about that, I have been trying to remind myself of the conversation that I had with the oldest of my tiny brothers while I was down the weekend that I just ran myself ragged. And that was after a lot of conversation about mental health. I told him about the project I was working on that weekend, and then I told him about this project, and he was just like, wow, that's really cool. I wish that I could do that. And something about hearing an almost 13-year-old tell me that I'm cool just fucking hit me. And if anything else in this world, Rylan, I hope that you know that your fucking brain isn't entirely abnormal, and that there are other people, and that there's support, and that there's coping mechanisms, and that there's ways for your brain to work better. So anybody listening, just know that truly I just want your brain to work the best that it fucking can. And I just want you to know that you're not alone in the moments when your brain isn't working the best that it can. And I also being more authentic on social media was a choice that I made because I really struggle with body image as it is. I have an eating disorder. So body dysmorphia is something that I struggle with regardless, but for quite some time, there was one particular Snapchat filter that I would use on all of my pictures. And I didn't take pictures outside of Snapchat, so it was just this one filter that I was using continuously for like an extended period of time. So when I made the decision to stop, it feel like I still kind of have body dysmorphia from that extended period of my face looking different, but in such a consistent way for so long. And I, as somebody who has an eating disorder, and I don't ever feel seen or represented. And in everybody's defense, avoidant restrictive food intake disorder is not like a regularly talked about and or even researched thing. So I am excited. I'm excited to share my journey, and I hope that it is validating for people, and I hope that it is... My whole goal, more or less, is to normalize a more authentic social media experience. So I have been kind of bad for it on my own social media, where I have gone back to only posting like the good days where I feel really cute and I've taken care of myself and I'm in a great mood, and I haven't been posting a like entirely realistic, I would say an inclusive view of my life that includes like the hard days and the struggling. And that's been a hard line lately because I've been trying really hard to celebrate myself, and like I feel like with the progress that I'm making and the things that I have been through in the last little while, I feel like celebrating myself is okay, but I really don't like social media as a whole. And I don't really want to contribute to the way that it functions now. So choosing to be a little bit more authentic on my Instagram really was the first step in me hopefully being a part of the impact that is going on social media, where people are being more authentic and encouraging others to be more authentic. And I honestly am really fucking excited to be a part of that. I feel like that's quite honestly like a really large purpose in my life, is to connect with others and like impact really fucking cool change. But like I think that a lot of that change is literally just holding space for other people to heal. And I think that that's been one of the coolest things in my life and on my journey, is seeing the space that my healing makes for other people around me. And I'm really excited to share that. So I hope that you feel just all of the healing, loving energy that I am sending out to all of you. If you're listening, please know like supporting me means the whole fucking world. And like, I love you. Thanks for being here. I started this journey when I was kind of at like I won't say kind of, it was definitely the lowest point that I have been at mentally, and I think like my whole kind of world came crashing down. I was living on my own for the very first time, but like I was not mentally stable. I feel like a pretty significant relationship had just ended, and that was also the first relationship where my partner hadn't tolerated just like the toxic cycles that I kept repeating. So like he really didn't fucking like when I yelled at him, and like that was how I communicated with people. So that was really weird to me, and that kind of, I think, started the crack on my reality and this whole shift that happened. And then there was like, I moved back home, and then I moved into my own place, and there was a large amount of trauma that happened within my family, and it was quite a time for me. And I also had stopped talking to a large amount of my friends and like kind of self-destructed because I was super codependent at this point and like wasn't at all aware of my cycles. So I was really just in full codependency, self-destructing fucking chaos mode. So like I didn't have any friends. I didn't have a stable job. It was a rough time. It was a really rough time, and I was in a rough fucking place mentally. And I went to the hospital because I lived really, really close to the hospital. I went to the hospital in Regina that has the mental health unit a handful of times. And I would get like put in a triage room right away. They wouldn't put me in the lobby. They'd like put me in a triage room right away. But it was always like it wasn't ever even actually a bed or like a chair. It was like a fucking plastic chair, and they'd like take all my shit because I told them that I didn't want to be alive, and they were like, you can't have stuff, which is fair, but like they would just leave me in entire emotional distress by myself and my fucking thoughts with a plastic chair to sit on. So like I would just sit there and spiral. And then by the time that anybody would come and see me, they would send a nurse, they would send the on-call psychiatrist. Everybody would ask me the same fucking questions over and over again. And it's a really overwhelming experience. So like at some point I'm just like, I'm going to leave. And again, I had just gone there by myself. So there was I was checking myself in, and I had decided that nope, never mind. And they just, unless I was a huge fucking threat, and even then, because our healthcare system, specifically the mental health unit in Regina, Saskatchewan, trash. I would just leave, often in more mental distress than I went in there with. I did get admitted twice. I spent one night, and like both times I got overwhelmed and I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna go, you know? So that was, I feel like I'm not going to say I feel like that was just the lowest point. And because I wasn't really aware of myself, I started to do the work here. And I will say that it got better, but I did start dating someone in the middle of all of this fucking chaos. And that is a story for a couple episodes from now. It's one that we're going to kick it off with after we round me out as a human, and I can't wait. Anyways, so I have been on just like a growth, self-healing, trying really hard not to end up like, I keep imagining my mom listening to this, because we're close, and like honestly our relationship is better than ever. So like, Stacy, if you hear any of this, I'm really sorry, but like these are the facts. So I came to a realization around this time period where I was just really low in life and didn't really have anything but myself, and kind of had to start over entirely and like build my shit back up in the middle of a mental health crisis. And it was the realization that I didn't want to end up like Stacy. And like Stacy has grown so much. I will give her so much fucking credit, because just amazing. I feel like every time I interact with her now, I'm astonished in the best of ways. But this has not always been the case. So it was really eye-opening to me to like see that this wasn't how other people interacted with people normally, and that I could not be like that if I tried my absolute hardest, I guess. I don't think that I realized at that point that it would be like a lifelong journey of me trying not to be a shitty person, but like we're too deep into it now, you know? So I started this journey about 5 years ago. And since then, it has been kind of constant and nonstop. And I feel like I'm always unpacking new things. And I thought that I was self-aware at that point, but I really guess I didn't have any idea. 'Cause it's been an illuminating ride. But it's been really interesting, and it has been really fulfilling. And I'm at a point now where the consistency and the like actual work that I have put into it is starting to pay off in ways that I can see, which is really fucking cool and super rewarding. And like the whole reason to do it is just to be a better person and feel fulfilled in your life because you actively chose to be a better person. So as somebody who started a journey of growth and has just like, it really has just snowballed down the fucking hill into an avalanche of shit to unpack, which is fine. I guess that's my life. And I have kind of accepted that, and it's kind of neat to unpack all of the things and to be able to understand why a lot of the things are. So as somebody who hasn't had the support necessarily when I needed it or the resources when I needed it, I really want to be that person. So I have found that healing and being able to share my journey has been really fucking cool. And like maybe one of the most rewarding ways to connect with people. But I really value vulnerability. And I really appreciate when people are willing to get vulnerable with me and are also, I guess, in turn comfortable with vulnerability, because that's also not everybody's cup of tea. So the whole, I guess, goal of this podcast and the platform as a whole is to tell my story in a way that makes space for other people's healing and for other people to be authentic. And I hope that it inspires you on your journey to make cool choices that make your soul happy. And hopefully encourages empathy, because that's just, I feel like if the whole world was a smidge more empathetic, even just the tiniest dash of empathy additionally, the world would be a way better place. So that's my hope. I feel like hopefully you kind of already get the gist. When I created the brand and when I was brainstorming, I have so many thoughts. But like overall, I hope to be able to tell my story in a way that is true to the reality of the way that things happened for me. And also, I feel like as I've gone on this journey and as I've gotten older and as I have learned to just like accept myself fully, my weirdness has just been able to like fully shine. And I told my little brother this actually, that I feel that my weirdness is one of the things that makes me the coolest. And I think that I'm really fucking cool. So I hope that you choose to continue to join me. Thank you so much. Love you so, so much. See you next time. Hear you next time. I don't fucking know. Talk to you in a bit.